Welcome to today's deep dive into one of the most talked about corporate diversity, equity, and inclusion controversies in recent years, Pinterest's workplace culture scandal. On the surface, Pinterest was a company that prided itself on progressive values, publicly committing to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. However, behind the scenes, several former employees, particularly women of color, came forward with shocking allegations of discrimination, retaliation, and a toxic work environment. These revelations not only shattered Pinterest's carefully curated image, but also raised important questions about the authenticity of corporate diversity and inclusion commitments. Today, we'll break down what happened, analyze why Pinterest's diversity efforts failed, and discuss what businesses can learn from this case. Before we get started, I know fewer than 20% of my viewers are subscribed to the channel. It would be a great help if you subscribed. It's free, and it helps the channel grow. Subscribing is quicker than leaving a comment, but if you'd like to leave a comment and let me know what types of videos you'd like to see next, I'd love to hear what you think. Given today's video, let's hear a word from our friends at Exam Edge. Exam Edge specializes in realistic online practice tests with detailed feedback for every question. This means you're not just memorizing answers, you're actually mastering the material, which is key to acing your exam. One of their most popular categories is human resources, offering bundles of 1, 5, 10, or even 15 practice tests for certifications like the SHRM CP and PHR. Personally, I choose the 10 or 15 test bundle. You get more questions for a better rate and even bonus freebies. What sets them apart for me is the unlimited access to unique questions. With over 1,300 for the SHRM CP alone, you'll be well prepared and confident for exam day. Ready to take your prep to the next level? Visit the links in the description box below depending on which test you're studying for, and use the code SHIRLEY10 at checkout. That is SHIRLEY10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. By using my links, you'll not only save money, but also support this channel. Let me know in the comments if you've tried Exam Edge or have any questions. Happy studying! The controversy surrounding Pinterest exploded in 2020 when two Black women, Ifeoma Ozoma and Erica Shimizu Banks, who were both public policy professionals at the company, spoke out about their experiences of discrimination and pay inequity. They detailed how they were underpaid, undermined, and faced retaliation for raising concerns about company policies. Their allegations were followed by a lawsuit from Françoise Brouwer, Pinterest's former chief operating officer, who accused the company of gender discrimination and a toxic culture that sidelined women leaders. These revelations directly contradicted Pinterest's diversity and inclusion messaging, in which the company positioned itself as an inclusive and supportive workplace. The backlash was swift. Employees staged a virtual walkout, high-profile investors took notice, and the company was forced to confront its internal failings. This case became a landmark moment in corporate DE&I accountability, as it demonstrated how public diversity commitments mean little if they are not reflected in actual workplace culture. Pinterest's situation highlights a common problem in corporate diversity efforts: the discrepancy between stated values and actual workplace experiences. Many companies, including Pinterest, make public pledges to diversity and equity, but fail to integrate these principles into everyday decision-making, hiring, and internal practices. One major flaw in Pinterest's approach was the absence of internal systems to handle discrimination claims fairly. Ozoma and Banks reported that when they raised concerns, they were met with hostility rather than solutions. This lack of a safe reporting structure allowed toxic workplace behavior to persist unchecked. Furthermore, instead of addressing these concerns, Pinterest allegedly retaliated against those who spoke up. This stark contradiction to the company's public diversity, equity, and inclusion statements sent a chilling message to other employees who might consider speaking up about workplace issues. After intense public scrutiny, Pinterest was forced to take action. The company paid $22.5 million to settle Brower's lawsuit, the largest publicly known gender discrimination settlement in Silicon Valley history at the time. Additionally, Pinterest hired a third-party law firm to conduct an internal review of its culture and diversity efforts. The company also pledged to make internal reforms, including increasing transparency around pay equity and implementing more structured HR policies to address workplace grievances. Despite these measures, the damage to Pinterest's reputation was significant. The company's mishandling of employee concerns showcased how reactive crisis management is not a substitute for proactive, genuine culture building. In recent years, Pinterest has significantly shifted its stance on diversity, equity, and inclusion, citing financial pressures as a primary concern. In its most recent 10-K filing, Pinterest acknowledged that DEI efforts were being reevaluated due to shifting market dynamics and profitability concerns. The company stated that maintaining previous levels of diversity and inclusion investment might not be feasible in the current economic climate. This shift reflects a growing trend among corporations scaling back DE&I commitments, especially in response to external pressures from investors, changing political landscapes, and broader cultural debates about the role of diversity in business. Pinterest's pivot raises critical questions. Were its DEI efforts always performative? Or has the company succumbed to economic realities, using financial concerns as a justification for cutting back on inclusion efforts? What can HR professionals and corporate leaders learn from Pinterest's diversity failure? Here are 3 key takeaways. Authenticity in diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts is critical. Companies cannot simply treat D, E, and I as a branding tool. Employees and the public will hold businesses accountable for failing to follow through on their commitments. Diversity initiatives must be integrated into company culture at every level, from hiring and compensation to leadership development and internal policies. Number 2, create safe and effective reporting systems. Employees need clear, protected avenues for raising concerns about discrimination and bias. HR teams should ensure that all claims are investigated fairly and transparently to prevent retaliation and build trust. And finally, leadership must set the standard. Diversity and inclusion cannot be delegated to a small team or an HR department alone. Senior leaders must be actively involved in shaping inclusive policies and enforcing accountability. Without top-down commitment, diversity efforts will fail. The Pinterest case serves as a cautionary tale about the real consequences of performative diversity and inclusion practices. When companies prioritize optics over substance, they not only fail their employees, but also put themselves at risk of reputational and financial damage. Additionally, Pinterest's recent repositioning raises concerns about the long-term sustainability of corporate diversity efforts in today's economic and political climate. HR professionals and corporate leaders must learn from these failures to create genuinely inclusive workplaces where diversity is more than a talking point, it's a lived reality. So, what do you think? Are companies truly committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion, or are many just paying lip service? Let's discuss in the comments. Thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.